What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream, and we are just under 24 hours away from Arsenal's Europa League game tomorrow night against the mighty Bodo Glimt of Norway. Another game, another watch-along, of course, here live on the channel as we manoeuvre our way through this Europa League group. You know, after watching these big Champions League games, you know, Europa League turns up, but we have to make sure we win the game, handle business, and then obviously a massive game this weekend against Liverpool on Sunday. Definitely Super Sunday, that is for sure. Let me slow it down. Let's go into Højbjerg mode, which is what we're calling it. We no longer slander Granit Xhaka on this channel, people, until something goes horribly wrong, which it may do at some stage. Yeah, unfortunately, do you know what? I always liked this shirt, but obviously it was ruined by a famous 8-2 at Old Trafford that we do not like to talk about. I thought, let me get some of the retro shirts out. You know, I got quite a few. But yeah, unfortunately, it is 8-2. Man saying, is that new merch? Bro, you don't remember these old shirts. Maybe a little bit young, you don't remember. I never liked the badge on this one, though. But yeah. I did like the shirt, though. I can't lie. The kit reminds me of Prime RVP. Yeah, we don't like to talk about the 8-2 people. We do not like to talk about that one for sure. But big up to everyone for tuning in today. Hope you are well. Liam O'Donnell, big up Curtis. Missed a few streams. Always watch back. Big up the chat. Ben Guna, hope you're well. Hope you're all right over there in America. Chris, that was a great game. Not for us. Big up Curtis. Forest get battered everywhere. Jeez, Forest took a beat down on Monday against Leicester. They're looking like they could be heading back to the champ, man. Old merch, man, the classic-ish, you know. Although this ain't a classic, to be fair, because it was painful memories. Give it the Hulk Hogan treatment. I told you, man. We're in inflation right now. Shirts can't be ripped. Granit Xhaka, I acknowledge that, Curtis. Don't use my name ever. WRT slow. Listen, we won't be using it until something goes wrong. You know, you never know, people. You could go back there, but I hope you don't ever go back there. Curtis Late TV. Lateness is greatness, man. 2 minutes anticipation, you know, people. That's what we have to do. Give away some of the old shirts. I might do, you know. I'm going to get some out the cupboard. I'll show you them this week on stream, the ones that I don't really want, and let me know if people want them. I'm more than happy to give them away. Amini said, Curtis, as a Liverpool fan, I'm kind of worried about Arsenal. I said yesterday on Talk is Cheap that for me, the Liverpool game for me worries me more than the Tottenham game. I think it's because of the history of the game. We haven't beaten Liverpool in the league, I believe. Is it 12 games since we've beaten them? We haven't scored in the last 6. And I just think the way they play could damage us more than Tottenham. However, if we play the way we've been playing, we can get at that Liverpool team. I know Liverpool got a good result against Rangers last night. Trent scored a brilliant free kick. But I still think we can get at them. MO7 said, Big C, Odegaard or Maddison. Listen, I'm not going to cap. I'm going to be totally honest. When this discussion was happening, I wanted Maddison. I like Maddison because I kind of feel like he's the modern number 10. In football. I think Odegaard plays like the number 10s that played 5-6 years ago. He plays like Ozil. He plays a little bit, you know, floats between the lines, doesn't shoot that much, where Maddison gets involved a lot more. He'll shoot from distance. It's a matter of choice. It's a matter of choice. I like Maddison. I'm never going to cap. I like Maddison. And I always did want Maddison ahead of Odegaard. I hope Odegaard, you know, rises way above him. But I'm not going to lie, I do like Maddison. Yeah, I would like them both if I was being totally greedy, to be honest. I would like them both. John Layat said, we want Denilson background. You put Xhaka on now, it's time for a bigger legend. The Brazilian Zidane Denilson. And you got Denilson wearing this shirt as well. Legendary picture. Anyway, let's get into the show. Ziggy said Maddison all day long. Let's get into the show. A topic that we spoke about the other day. I'm going to start off with this as the main topic of discussion. We'll get your opinions. We did speak about it the other day as well. But it looks as if it's drawing ever closer. And that is this story, people. Although he doesn't look too happy in this picture. Maybe he wanted more. But Arsenal have reached an agreement in principle worth nearly 200k a week on a 5-year contract for Bukayo Saka. Sources have told Football Insider. Now, a few different articles are running with this story today. Elliot, yeah, Henry, this was his return kit. Sunderland away, his final goal. A few articles running with this same story today that Saka, as we said the other day, people, £180,000 a week with £20,000 in very achievable bonuses for Bukayo Saka. A brand new contract, 5 years, £200,000 a week for Bukayo Saka. Now, I'm going to put a similar question up to what I put the other day, but some of you might not have been in the comments. What are your thoughts on Bukayo Saka getting 200 grand a week? Do you think that's too much, or do you think it's worth it? 200k a week, Saka new deal. Is that a fair amount, or is it too much? I don't think anybody would say it's not enough. So 200k a week for Saka's new deal. Is that a fair amount for him, or is that too much? Now, a lot of the comments that people were using the other day, some people were saying it's not a problem. You know, somebody was saying Foden's new deal's worth 250 grand a week. Sancho's on 350 grand a week. But also on the flip side, you know, Saka's going from about 40k a week. I believe he got a new deal that was around 70, and then you're going to nearly treble the wage. Now, somebody put in the comments the other day, and somebody just put it there. It's not our money, what do we care? Cool, totally understand that. It's not our money. And on the flip side, if Saka goes, how much are you going to cost to replace? You're going to have to spend 70 million for him. You're going to have to give someone, you know, Pepe costs 70 million, 130 grand a week. However, I still have a couple of concerns about the size of the wage. Number one, I think when you give somebody too much too soon, it feels like that's the norm. I think sometimes with a young player, you've got to keep them chipping away that, listen, you got to keep going to get more. And every young player then that says, right, new contract, I'm going to go in and say, well, you know what? Saka's on 200, so I need 150. I need 160 because I'm not far behind him. In the modern game, with what your Sanchos, your Fodens and that are getting, yeah, that's fine. You could give him. But at the end of the day, Sancho went to Germany, ripped up the German league, did bits in the Champions League, cost 75 million. He went to Man United. The wage was always going to be massive. Saka's come through the youth system. Saka was on 40k a week. Is 200k too much of a pay rise for Bukayo Saka? Do you necessarily have to give him that much? I think they opened a can of worms by giving Eddie Nketiah 100 grand a week with very little on the CV to justify getting £100,000 a week. I'm going to be honest. I think 200,000 a week is too much money for Bukayo Saka. I do. He's 21 years of age. He's just at the beginning of his third, probably full season being a starter in the Arsenal team. I would say he should be on less than that. However, the problem is 2 years left on his deal. City, Liverpool, clubs will be looking at him and they're going to have to pay him what the going rate is. And they will use Sancho's contract. They will use Foden's contract and say that is the going rate. For a player of that level, 21 years of age, England international, you've got to pay him. Also, all the best replacing him. You're going to have to spend 75 million. So I understand it. What Arsenal can't do is say, right, there's 120. He rejects it. We sell him to Man City with a year left on his deal. That is worse than giving Saka 200 grand a week. However, I think if we were strong enough negotiators, we should have been getting him for 130, 140, 150. But I want to know what you think in the comments, people. Fitz, thank you for the super chat. He said, the day the Chuckle brothers paid Eddie the ludicrous amount of 100k, they made a straw for the club's back. And I think now, anybody going into negotiations with Arsenal, you're using Eddie as, that's just the point we get started. You want me to sign a new deal at Arsenal? You got Eddie on 100k. He doesn't even start. So I need 100k minimum. Then we got to start going up. Apparently the deal is 180 grand a week basic with 20k in incentives, easily achievable. Is it too much too young? Can you get too much too young? Can the money pull you away from that hunger? I don't know. Will it cause issues in the dressing room, like Omar's saying? Alex, thank you for the super chat, said, Big C, Saka deserves it. If we had bought someone of his quality and paid that amount, everyone would have been happy. We need to reward Saka, who has been very helpful to the club and never had issues. And I do agree with that to a certain extent. Players do need to be rewarded, at the same time. He's been our player of the year for the last 2 years. If we'd signed a player for 70 million and gave him 120 grand and then he was signing a new deal at 200 grand, we wouldn't complain. I just think when you've come through the system and you were picking up 30, 40, then 70, did you need to go straight to 200? I think that is a massive jump in his wage. But like somebody said yesterday that I thought they made a fantastic point is Saka is the poster boy for this football club. He is the front cover. He is the guy they use in the adverts. He's the guy, they're putting puppies on his chest to sell the merch. So to Arsenal, this is about more than just having a very good player on our hands. This is about he's going to sell shirts. He's going to sell merch. Like you just said there, he doesn't create any problems. You've never seen him in a nightclub drunk. You've never seen him, sucking on balloons and doing all kinds of madness. He behaves himself. He's in a grounded family. So I think they're rewarding him. Like I said, let me actually be specific, because we should be specific. The basic wage is 180 grand a week. So I shouldn't even have put 200k a week in the title, because 200k includes 20k a week bonus. So you can always make it sound a lot bigger with bonuses. So let me do him the justification of saying it's 180 grand a week. Just to put it into context, Arsenal's 2 top earners are Thomas Partey and Gabriel Jesus, who earn 200,000 a week. Saka would be the 3rd highest earner at the football club on 130 grand a week. So if I am going to add that context to it, 180, I think ideal world, I would have liked to have got him on maybe 150, 140, because he is young and I do think he's got to still have that hunger to go and get more. But I think Arsenal are going to look at the market, look at the disaster of Nicolas Pepe and think, let's play it safe, give him 200k, 180k should I say, tie him down for 5 years, keep Manchester City, Liverpool, whoever at bay. So if I'm being totally honest, they've got to do it. They've got to do it. We're not in a strong enough position. If we'd been in the Champions League for the last 5 years and we were winning trophies on a regular basis, you say to him, there's 140 grand, take it or leave it, double your money. But because clubs are in better positions than us, probably sniffing around him, we're going to have to be, pay excess on what he's maybe worth. So I'm going to do him the fairness of saying it is 180 grand a week. And I think we do need, we're in an unfortunate position. We probably have to give him that. Clement said 180k a week for Saka is too much. It should have been 150, but Saka deserves it for doing work on the field by getting Arsenal Player of the Season for the last 2 seasons. You've just got to hope that the money doesn't change him, which can happen. Young players, they're well off. They've got a lot of money anyway, but 180 grand, 200 grand a week, talking about 800k a month plus probably more bonuses on top of that as well is a big difference, But listen, we paid 130 for Pepe, and look at the state of that deal. We're going to talk about Pepe later on in this show as well. So, yeah, listen, it probably is the going rate nowadays, unfortunately. Like I said, Foden, Sancho, Darwin Núñez, somebody put in the comments on 200k a week, relatively unproven outside of one good year in the Portuguese league. So it is what it is. Hendon Guna said 200k for being a nice boy. Let's see him finally turn up in matches now, big time now. If he signs, one thing he has to understand, Saka, you sign a deal at 180, the expectation is higher. I'm expecting even more from you. I don't view you as a young player now. I'm looking at you as a player that 180k, 3rd highest earner. You're a big boy at this football club now. So listen, we'll see. I think Arsenal have to give it him because of the position we're in. And I think clubs will be sniffing around him. You know, Mahrez is in his 30s at Man City. They could probably do with a right winger. Le Mans said, I don't like the kit. We lost to Man U 8-2. I know. Totally agree. But I did like the kit, but I hated that result. Josh R said, big up Curtis. We need to bear in mind that Saka has the same agent as Eddie, and it can be argued that his previous renewal was under his true value. Yeah, 100%. 100%. They will say, look, you've had him sitting on peanuts for a long time. You've got to reward him sufficiently now. He's going to the World Cup. He's probably going to start right wing for England. Other clubs will be looking at him. There was rumours the other week that Real Madrid have scouted him recently, as they're not totally convinced about Rodrigo, the Brazilian right winger. So if clubs like Real Madrid are sending scouts, Man City are looking at him, his agent will use that as ammunition for Arsenal in negotiations. Rudy said he's overrated, needs to improve end product and decision making, but still one of our better players, shows lack of quality. I'll say this about Bukayo Saka. I've questioned him a little bit this season. I think we have to put into context he's 21 years of age. And even this season, when I've questioned him at times and people have questioned him, we've played 8 games. He's contributed 5 goals to the team this season. That's better than 1 goal every 2 games. 1 goal, 4 assists. You even look at the game against Tottenham on the weekend. He plays the pass, goes on the little run, gives it into Ben White. Ben White gives it Partey goal. His shot, cuts inside, shoots, spilt by Lloris. Gabriel Jesus scored. So he's still playing a part in Arsenal's victories, even if the stats aren't shining brightest at the moment. He's still contributing. He's still a danger man. Like we said the other day, he's doing damage without even doing damage, in the sense that now everybody doubles up on him. If you double up on Saka, that means Martinelli's going to get more space. That means Odegaard. That means Gabriel Jesus. So he's doing things without even doing things on the pitch. And that's what makes him so vital. We were talking the other day about how Sadio Mane, you know, the coach that I speak to at Liverpool, said everyone had to double up on Mane. You double up on Mane, Salah reaps the rewards of it. So it may be that Martinelli gets better numbers than Saka this season because of Saka's danger and the threat that he poses now. So I think, listen, if my overall feeling about this contract, it is 180k basic. As somebody was saying there, you make a great point. Lacazette was on 180k. And ultimately, Lacazette was a failure at Arsenal, if we're being totally honest. £50 million goal scorer, never scored more than 15 in a season. If we're giving him 180k, if you bought Saka now from another club, you'd give him 180k. Because he's come through our system and we've developed him, the 180k seems inflated. And that's probably the realist point of the situation. But listen, I think keeping him at the football club is more important than haggling over the money. It would have been more damaging to offer him 120 and he goes elsewhere. So Sadiq said it's worth it. We should reward homegrown players. Lacazette was earning 182k per week. This is how the current market is, and we are top of the league. Alex, thank you for your super chat as well. Why should we be so concerned about a player's salary? It's not our money. We should be more concerned on the performances, the results. My point is, Alex, what did people say about Mesut Ozil? Hit a great run of form, got 350, went downhill real quick. What did people say about Aubameyang? Was our best player, signed for 350, went downhill. What are people saying about Mo Salah at the moment? Best winger in Europe or best winger in the Premier League, signs a huge contract, all of a sudden he's out of form. Is it related to the money or is it just coincidence? You want young players to constantly have that hunger, financially, football-wise. Sometimes if you give them everything straight away, here are you, the best player, you're going to wear one of the best numbers, you're going to get an absolute fortune. If they don't have that edge about them and that drive, they can very quickly just get comfortable and go, do you know what? I'm picking up 800 grand a week. I'm wearing number 7. I'm on a 5-year contract. I'm in the England squad. I'm chilling. I might have form where it dips. I don't think Saka's like that, but that's just the one concern that you have when you see that. Like people are saying, it's not our money. Who cares? We just want to make sure it doesn't affect him. We want to hope that it harnesses him and makes him even better. So we'll have to see. But let's end the poll. Let's see what you think regarding Saka's new deal. And like I said, it is 180 grand a week basic, not 200. There is 20 grand a week in bonuses, so 180 doesn't sound quite as bad. 62% of you say that that's a fair amount for Saka's new deal. 38% think it's too much. As I said, my overall feeling on this is it's more important to keep him at the club and overpay him slightly than to lose him. Losing him would be an absolute disaster. And we just got to hope that, his personality, that he doesn't get caught up in the money and that hunger doesn't disappear. James Bond said, Curtis, all those players you named, Salah, Aubameyang, etc., 30 plus when they got those deals. Good point. Saka is young and the hunger is still there. Yep, let's hope so. Gunnar8 said he still needs competition. Absolutely agree with that. Can Marquinhos be that competition, or do we need to sign a winger in January? Darren said Ruben Loftus-Cheek earns 150k per week. Saka is well deserved. That's a good point. We know that Chelsea's wage bill is massively inflated. And I think Hudson-Odoi earns 150 as well. So they do things a little bit different to us. But I understand your point, an English player that you would say hasn't done as much as Saka. South London's Finest said, Saka is not going to take 140k. Let's be real. All the best youngsters in big clubs are on big money. I know Reece James' agent. He told me about Saka's contract time ago. Big up for the inside info, South London's Finest. Still waiting for the reply. I did email you back. I have emailed you back regarding the app. Check your emails. I've sent it. Leroy Sané last night was on fire. Remember when we spoke about him in the summer? A lot of Arsenal fans saying they didn't want him. He looks like he's playing at the moment. He really does. Mustafa said he's worked for it. Yeah. 2 years in a row, Player of the Year. Rowan said still Son is on 190k. Xhaka said 200k is absolutely mad. I need at least 300k. You think all these suspensions are cheap? And Sadiq said Curtis Van Persie said he wasn't offered a contract. We could have kept a few players if the club was doing the right thing. Ish said, did you see Trent's free kick? Outstanding goal, to be honest. Big up Fish Eagle, who said, big up Curtis. Really enjoying your streams. Appreciate it. And big up to everyone who's watching on Twitch and on YouTube. C-Unit Business. Really appreciate all your support as always on the channel. Bodo Glimt watch along tomorrow night. And obviously Liverpool watch along on Sunday, people. So keep it locked. People. Let's talk about another contract renewal. Another interesting one. And this is, for me, the man of the moment. Right, the man of the moment. I said on the last stream that we did, we had a vote, and it was a fantastic vote. Who's the player of the season so far? The majority of you went for William Saliba, closely followed by Gabriel Jesus. I just went for Saliba based off the fact I think he's come from a more difficult situation than Jesus. Jesus came in from Man City, Premier League experience, spoke the language, won multiple trophies in this country. He knew what he was going into. Saliba, only just learnt the language, never played in the league. And I think he's dealt with it like a fish to water. He's been absolutely unbelievable. Big up my brother Broad said, cheese, Curtis looking like 2011 Henry. Yeah, I thought, let's get some of the old shirts out, although this was an 8-2 disaster, but it was also Thierry Henry tapping at the back post away at Sunderland from Arshavin's cross. So we think about that. We ignore the 8-2. According to Gary Jacob, usually quite reliable, says Arsenal have stepped up their efforts to tie down William Saliba to a new contract until 2027 and will offer a significant increase on his 40k a week wage to prevent him running into the final year of his deal, which expires in 2024. Now, there's an article out with you. Lamar said, I agree with you. Saka is our next Mbappe. I mean, Lamar, first of all, I never said that. And I think you're getting a little bit carried away there. I love Saka. Saka is a superstar youngster. But Mbappe, we're talking about a whole other level there. I hope he reaches them heights. But the mountain has not been climbed yet. That is for sure. Mbappe's up there with Haaland and them, man. So I would relax, as Grizz says, karma, relax yourself. It's been a good weekend. Maybe you've had a few drinks to celebrate the North London derby. Mbappe, relax. I'm tempted to give you a 3-minute timeout to consider your actions there. But hey, it is what it is, people. Lamar thinks Saka could be our Mbappe. I can see you in the comments. But listen, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but I think he's a long way off Mbappe. That is for sure, people. Right, the interesting thing about this article. The article says Arsenal set to offer William Saliba between £100,000 and £120,000 a week. So this is where I want to discuss something similar to what we just discussed about Bukayo Saka. If I'm William Saliba's agent, I'm thinking purely as Saliba's agent. Forget the fact I'm an Arsenal fan. Forget anybody in the chat being Arsenal fans. If I'm Saliba's agent and I'm seeing Bukayo Saka get 180. I know Saka's been your player of the year for 2 years. That's cool. I know he's in the England squad. I'm sitting here saying, my bro, I'm the best defender at your football club. I'm the best. I'm better than Gabriel. I'm better than Ben White. I'm better than Tomiyasu. I'm better than all of them. I'm in the French squad. France are world champions. Saka plays for England. I play for France. World champions. Yeah? I'm not taking 100 grand a week. I'm not taking 120 grand a week. If he signs for 120, that is unbelievable business from Arsenal. But I'm telling you now, if I'm Saliba's agent and Saka's getting 180, I want more. Now, I know what some of you are saying. Yeah, he's a defender. Defenders don't always get as much as attacking players. He hasn't been at Arsenal for as long as well. So maybe he can't justify getting what Saka's getting. Saka's been player of the year for 2 years in a row. However, if I'm his agent, I'm saying, my bro, he can go Real Madrid, he can go Barcelona, he can go Bayern Munich, he can go PSG. He'll go PSG, he's better than Kimpembe. He'll play next to Marquinhos. Go Barcelona, PK and then man getting on, he gets in Barcelona's team. He goes Bayern Munich, he's better than Upamecano, who isn't even in the French squad. Real Madrid, he'd have a battle, Rudiger, Alaba, but they'd take him as a squad player minimum. So you're playing a risky game if you want to make him low offers. Because 100 to 120k, he's on 40k at the moment. So 120 trebles his wage. So I understand, to him, if I'm on 40k, 120 looks good. But if he's his agent, is his agent going to accept 100 to 120k? Let me know what you think in the comments. What I'm trying to ask people is, do you think he would sign the contract for 120k when number one, he knows that Eddie's on 100, who's just sitting on the bench, and also he's about to see Saka sign for 180. Is he going to say, listen, I believe I'm on the same level as Saka? Because I think he is. I know he hasn't done the groundwork at Arsenal, but in terms of talent, you could be looking at the best young centre-back in world football. And that's no cap. Broad said, mate, there's no way Barca or Real are going to pay 100 million if Arsenal are paying him 40k. Bruv, he's got a year left on his deal in the summer. Do you know what kind of alarm bells ring if he does not sign a contract before next summer with a year left? Every team in Europe will want him. 40 grand a week. You ain't even getting 50 million for him with a year left on his deal on 40 grand a week. You got to give him 150 minimum. And I agree, Elliot. 150 is your starting price. And that's the reality of the situation. You know, these clubs will take him. They'll give him the wages. But listen, I'm glad that we're talking. And it is interesting because Saliba said in an interview after the weekend, he loved the North London derby. He went on to say again, Arsenal is his home. He loved the atmosphere for the North London derby. He said there have been some talks regarding his contract and that there will be more talks in the future. But I need pen to paper. I need commitment. I don't know about anybody else. I don't want him to go to the World Cup start for France and he still hasn't signed a new deal, because everybody in the world's going to be like, what is this? We haven't noticed this. Ring his agent. How much wages is he on? 40 grand a week. What? Arsenal not in the Champions League. Have a word. See if he fancies it. Do you want to live in Spain? Do you want to go and play for PSG? We got to be careful. We got to be careful. Start at 120, negotiate. You might get him for 140, 150. We'll take it if we get to that point. We're in a very precarious position at the moment. Saka, Martinelli, Saliba, contracts running down. We heard yesterday Chelsea interested in Gabriel Martinelli. We've heard before Real Madrid have had looks at Saliba. Real Madrid, Man City have had looks at Saka. Those three are pivotal to our long-term future at the moment. You have to get those three to sign new contracts. Hopefully it's a domino effect. This is the right time to get them to commit because we're top. We're doing well. There's a feel-good factor. This is when you negotiate with them. You don't do it if we're on a bad run and things aren't going well. You get them to sign now. JW said Saka's British are more likely to stay, maybe. Yeah, he says he's a boyhood Arsenal fan, you know, and that's probably where he would want to stay, you know. As much as we think these players always loved the football club, Saliba's not a boyhood Arsenal fan. He would leave if we weren't moving correct. So we have to make sure we do move correct. Big up my brother Akeem. He said, I think they're mocking it at 100k starting. Do you know what I mean? I'll be like, bro, if I'm sitting in the office and I'm his agent, and they go, right, you know, William, you've done well. You're on 40k. We're going to offer you around 100, 120. I'll be like, what do you mean 100? 100 what? You don't start at 100, bro, when Eddie's on 100. I'm going World Cup with France. Don't start me on Eddie's numbers. Start me on Pepe's numbers or something. You know what I mean? Don't start me on them numbers. So, but listen, we'll see. We'll see. Well, Saliba said, you know, he watched Arsenal. He loved Arsenal when he was younger. But I take all of that with a pinch of salt. I remember when Robbie Keane signed for Liverpool. I'm a boyhood Liverpool fan. I've always dreamed of playing for Liverpool. 2 years later, he signed for Celtic. Growing up, I love Celtic, my boyhood club. I've always wanted to play for them. You know, I take it with a pinch of salt. He's probably a PSG fan or Marseille or something. But, you know, his agent would call PSG immediately. Let's just see what happens. You know, he does have pictures apparently in an Arsenal kit as a kid. Fair enough. Fair enough. You know, let's see. Money talks, people. Money talks. Seriously. Money talks. Dirty cash, I want you. Dirty cash, I need you more. I've seen players in pictures of shirts, man. That don't mean nothing to me. You know, put pen to paper, then that's all I need to see. I'm good. You know, Alexis and all these man done us dirty plenty of times. But anyway, Saliba, new contract negotiation. Get him for 120, 140, 150, 5 years. Him and Saka and Martinelli have to be secured for the long-term future. They are huge players right now. I'm glad that we're talking. I'm glad that we're negotiating. And this is the time to get them because there's a feel-good factor around the play. Yeah, Harry Kane, he's one of our own. Yeah, mate, he was at the parade of the Invincibles in an Arsenal shirt with spray-painted red hair. You know how this thing goes, man. Wearing the kit don't mean nothing. He probably kisses the Tottenham badge when he scores now. Pavel said, send in Thierry Henry to speak to him. I'm telling you, I remember when Zidane was the B-team coach at Real Madrid, they used to get Zidane to talk to these players. Zidane apparently made the phone call that convinced Varane to leave France and go to Real Madrid. You know, if I'm Saliba and Thierry rings me, hello, Thierry? What, new contract? Yeah, just send it. I'll sign it now, Thierry. Anything you say, bro. You got to use the cavalry, man. Get Vieira on the phone. Get Pires on the phone. Get it sorted, man. So, yeah, we'll see, people. We will see. 1,500 of you in the chat. Great support, as always. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you like the video. Let's get 1,000 likes. Should be light work. And subscribe if you haven't already. Law said, Big C, did you see what Ian Wright said? That there are players waiting for Arsenal to be in the Champions League to join. Sounds like he has inside info. Listen, that's standard procedure. If we get in that, you know, there's no secret there. If we get in the Champions League football next season, the level of player that we sign will go up. All the name brand players will come back. The Gucci, the Louis Vuitton, you know, all them top brands become accessible again. We can't buy them top brands right now. Maybe the odd one when it's on sale and you hope it's in your size. Listen, mate, you got Gabriel Jesus in a medium. Yeah, oh, yeah, you're lucky I got one left. You got Zinchenko in a large, mate. Yeah, got one. You know what I mean? But we can't go in there and just shop freely right now. They're not interested. We ain't got enough, you know, we ain't got the readies for that. Are you in Champions League? No. Let's be honest, this summer, we would have been in the running for Sterling as well. I was hearing a lot of rumours linking us with Raheem Sterling. We couldn't get him because we didn't have Champions League. He ain't willing to play Europa League for a year when he's 27 years of age. He said, oh, I'll go Chelsea. They've got everything that's necessary. You get us in the Champions League, we can go and compete for all these top players. Haaland was in an Arsenal shirt. Yeah, man. King Buck said, no more Dunlop. You know what I mean? Remember them tough days, man, when mum was sending you school in Dunlop. You know what I mean? And you had to fight your way through, man. Them days weren't easy, people. Medium and large, one left. You know what I mean? One left, people. It's in your size. We ain't got the black card, man. We can't just swipe and leave. You got that Gnabry in at Excel, you know what I mean? Gnabry wasn't available, man. They snapped it up already. And that's how it goes. He ain't telling us no secret info. We get in the Champions League, most of the top players. I think it was, I spoke about this the other day, was it Anthony Williams? He messaged me and he said, he made a great point. There was a story that 4 English clubs are trying to sign Jude Bellingham for next summer. Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea and Liverpool, all trying to sign Jude Bellingham next summer. For me, one of the best young centre midfielders in world football, along with probably Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Pedri, Bellingham. They're for me, I've probably missed a few, but they're the ones that spring to mind. You say to yourself, why are Arsenal not in that race? We need a centre midfielder, right? I know Xhaka's playing well. We still need a centre midfielder. Why are we not even in that race? Even if you don't win the gold medal, why aren't we trying? Why aren't we inquiring for Jude Bellingham? Why aren't we having conversations saying, Jude, if we get in the Champions League, do you want to come to Arsenal, live in London, play centre mid? Look at the football we're playing. So, I think, yeah, we need to start going for those kind of players. I want to see some name brands come to Arsenal. It's not all about name brand signings. We've seen it with Manchester United over the years. Your Pogba's, your Lukaku's, your Zlatan Ibrahimovic's, big names that weren't big successes. Zlatan did all right before the injury. But at the same time, we wouldn't mind seeing some big players come through the door where you don't have to go on YouTube and figure out how good they are. When we signed Fabio Vieira, I spent 15 minutes on YouTube looking at clips of him. You signed Jude Bellingham, I don't need to go on YouTube. I know how good you are. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get Jude Bellingham. He probably ends up at Liverpool. Apparently, he supports them. City, if they go in for him, they might get him. But we should be in these conversations. I want to be in the running for Raheem Sterling. I want to be in the running for Jude Bellingham. I want to be able to go to Leroy Sané and say, listen, if you're not happy, we'll take you. Serge Gnabry would have been interested this summer, I think, if we had Champions League football. We can't have left Highbury to come to the Emirates to compete with the biggest teams in the world, yet when the biggest players go up for sale, we have absolutely no chance of getting involved. We are the guy in lane 8 who you've never heard of, who finishes last and gets a season's best, who finishes 12 seconds behind Usain Bolt. You've never heard of him. We're that guy. I don't even know if we're that guy, actually, to be honest. We're so far out of the race. But I want to be in those races. I do. I'm sick of it. I want to see big names come to Arsenal now where they're shirt sellers. You run to the shop and print their name on the back of the shirt. We need to be involved in them conversations. That's what this is all about. We want big players. We can't always, find diamonds. Sometimes you've got to get someone who's ready-made, top quality, going to take you to the next level. Look at Jesus, Zinchenko. They're taking us to the next level. Thomas Partey, when he's fit, they're taking us to the next level. Because they're ready, they're proven. We need ones that are maybe even a little bit bigger than them. So let's see. Champions League football does that. Unfortunately, all the top players want to play Champions League. I'm telling you, lane 8 people, and lane 8 is lonely. They start in lane 1 and 2. You might see a couple man there. Oh, yeah, I've heard of him before. They get to lane 3 and 4. That's where the big boys turn up. Blake and Bolt and all them, man. You go, yeah, one of these man's winning the gold medal. Then it gets progressively worse. And there's some Donny in lane 8 who looks like he works in your local shop, who's probably running the 100 metres in 26 seconds. That's what Arsenal are dealing with right now. We're in lane 8. I want to be in lane 4 next to Usain Bolt trying to win the gold medal. So, yeah, man, I want to be involved in the big conversations, We don't always have to sign the name brand, but occasionally you need a little Louis Vuitton or a little Gucci gang, you know what I mean? Something's got to go off. But, let's see. Let's see, people. Champions League would be interesting what level of player we could get. If we got the likes of Jesus and that in the Europa League. So anyway, let's move on, people. Let's move on before I get carried away. Lane 8, Lokonga. You know what? Let's talk about Lokonga. There is a crazy story doing the rounds today. Is this paper talk? Is there anything to this? It's coming out of the Sun newspaper, which, my thoughts and opinions on anything that comes out of that newspaper. Um, but they are saying that Arsenal could include Sambi Lokonga in a swap deal for Manuel Locatelli. The Juventus star is set to be available in January, having failed to fully convince boss Massimiliano Allegri he should be part of his long-term plans. I mean, I've got to ask a couple of questions here before we get involved in this story, and if there's any kind of justification behind this story, is this absolute nonsense. The first question I would ask, number one, would Juventus want Sambi Lokonga in a swap deal? I'm not sure. Allegri's job's on the line at the moment. I would imagine if he's going to get rid of a player like Locatelli, who is an international for Italy, he's going to want somebody proven, surely. Why? I can't see why Allegri would be saying, go and get me Sambi Lokonga. I'm just not sure. No disrespect to Sambi. I don't see why Juventus would think he was the answer. He's not playing for Arsenal. He's not pulling up trees. Why would Allegri want him? Juventus are 7th in the league at the moment. 7 points behind Atalanta and Napoli. Napoli are top. So that's my first question. The interesting part is that Locatelli has not actually signed for Juventus on a permanent deal yet. He signed on loan with an obligation to buy. The obligation to buy is next summer, so Juventus will have to sign him for £30 million. There were rumours they wanted £40 million to let him go, which I thought was a bit cheeky. Now they're saying Arsenal will offer Sambi Lokonga in a straight swap. We paid £17 million for Lokonga. Has Lokonga's value increased since he's been at Arsenal? I don't know. I want to know what you think about this deal. I'm not even going to put a poll up because I honestly don't believe the deal at all. I don't see how this deal would have any legs. First of all, would you take Locatelli? Locatelli pied us. He didn't want to sign for us. He said his dream was to play for Juventus. Do you hold that against him and say, listen, he didn't want to come to us, so I'm not interested in him? Or do you forgive him and think, you know what, Juventus was his dream. We were struggling at the time. He's gone there. We'll take him. He's still better than what we've got. Which opinion are you of? And then second of all, are you willing to let Sambi Lokonga go for him? Somebody just said in the comments that Lokonga's got a lot of potential and we should stick with him. What's your thoughts? Where I'm kind of at with Lokonga at the moment, I'm not convinced by him. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't think, at this moment in time, I don't think he's better than what Guendouzi was at Arsenal. And Guendouzi wasn't even the finished article at Arsenal, if I'm being honest. He had flaws in his game, lost the ball a little bit too much, dribbled, took chances. But Lokonga is not at the level that Guendouzi was at Arsenal. This is his second season. He's struggling to get in the team. He should get an opportunity tomorrow night in the Europa League. That'll be a big help for him. But I'm kind of with you. I think Lokonga could do with a loan. I think he could do with a loan move. I just don't think... He doesn't look any better than when he joined the club, in my opinion, Lokonga. I haven't seen much development. I'm not thinking, well, you've been here 18 months. I've seen you improve. I don't really know where he's at Arsenal. Who say he's not good in the 6, but how good is he in the 8 role? I don't know. I don't know. Listen, maybe he needs this season 10, 12, 14, whatever, Europa League games, couple Carabao Cup games, couple Prem games, 25, 30 games. Maybe we get a player on our hands next season. But at the moment, I don't think he's of the level that we require at the moment. He's the next midfielder to come into our team. If Xhaka or Partey come out, he's next. As our third choice centre mid, I don't think he's ready at this moment. That's not to say he can't improve. That's not to say he won't improve. I'm just saying at this moment. E. Ross said, Curtis, Arsenal are no second fiddle to anyone, especially Locatelli. I have to admit, my pride kind of says to me, listen, Locatelli is a good player that we could take, but the fact he rejected us, even though he went to Juventus and that was his dream move, and I do kind of understand it, I'm being a bit petty. I don't want him. Maybe I'm being a bit petty and I'm cutting my nose off to spite my face, and maybe I should be willing to take him because he is an improvement on the backup that we've got. I don't want Locatelli. I would rather go and sign Douglas Luiz. or go and sign the boy Danilo from Brazil. I'd rather sign someone that desperately wants to be at Arsenal. I said a few years ago I was sick of having players at Arsenal acting like we were doing them a favour by signing them. We're a big football club. You're lucky to be at this football club. So me personally, I don't want nothing to do with Locatelli. Ish says Locatelli. I'm telling you, I don't want nothing to do with him. Oh, you went Juventus, the dream move, and guess what? It ain't working for you, yeah? All right, cool. That's your problem. Sort yourself out. We've moved on. We're top of the Prem. Yeah, we don't want him. In my opinion, some people would agree and say take him. I don't want him. You've gone to the big club. It hasn't happened. So you sort yourself out, mate. Get yourself a move to Bologna or something. Yeah, for me, leave him alone. Let's go and get someone else, a bit more mobile, who knows the Prem. Lokonga's got all the tools. It's just a confidence issue. Possibly, maybe he needs a consistent run. Rudy said not good enough. See, not sure what Henry saw in him. Cut our losses and get better. For me, with Sambi, in the summer, I'd give him a 1-year loan. I wouldn't necessarily sell him straight away because I don't think you'd make any profit on him. I'd give him a 1-year loan to a decent club and see if he could develop. You know, you look what Marseille did for Saliba. You look at Nuno Tavares doing well over there. I think we'd be able to sell him for some profit in the summer. So I'd probably give Lokonga a loan in the summer depending on how he develops this season. Because you just never know at that age, especially for a centre midfielder. Elliot said the Locatelli ship has sailed. Don't want sloppy seconds. Although Anthony said Locatelli is levels above Luiz and Danilo is unknown to 99.9% of us and an unknown quantity should he leave Brazil. Bottom line is Locatelli is also much better than El Neni and Sambi. And listen, and this is what I'm saying. He's better than what we've got in terms of options, certainly behind Partey. But I don't like the circumstances. You're signing a player out of form. He's going to have a big hangover of the fact that you've gone to your dream club and failed and been dashed out before the loan even finished. You know, the man's not even officially joined yet. He's on loan and they're trying to dash him. So I would just rather go for someone else, in my opinion. But we'll see. It's an interesting opinion. His dream has turned into a nightmare at Juventus. You know what? Yeah, let's just throw the poll out quickly. Why not? Would you take Locatelli? Or has that ship sailed? Locatelli to Arsenal. Yes or no? Simple. Simple things. Would you take him? Or has that ship sailed? We'll just get a quick poll up for 5 minutes just so I can get your opinion. No email, please resend. I will double check. I'll send it you again. I will send it you again. Just to make sure. Locatelli, not for me. Sesko is worth a look in January. Ish said, Big C, if we were to sign a world-class 6 next summer, who would you go for? I mean, the problem is, how many world-class 6ers are there? You know, how many world-class 6ers are there? And can you get them? There aren't many. You know, world-class 6, you know, Rodri, Fabinho. You're not getting any of them. Casemiro was top quality. He's moved. I actually can't think of many world-class 6ers, to be honest. I'm not totally sure who I would go for. I did like Ruben Neves. He's not world-class, but I do like him. Milinkovic-Savic is a good one. I would like Milinkovic-Savic. He's not really a 6 anymore. Plays a little bit further advanced. But I do like Milinkovic-Savic. Basuma's obviously gone to Spurs. Danilo is quality, says Vernon. Honestly, I haven't watched a lot of him. Calvin Phillips would have been perfect. Phillips is just so injury prone, though. That is the problem. Caicedo at Brighton looks very good from what I've seen. He could be good. I don't think you'd have to pay huge money for him. Declan Rice, I wouldn't go near him. Not because I don't rate him, because whoever signs Declan Rice is going to have to pay a small fortune. He will cost you at least, I think, 80 to 90 million from the links that I've seen for him. I think it will cost you 80 to 90 million English tax. I wouldn't pay anywhere near that for Declan Rice. South London, thank you for the super chat. Sambi is better than Patrick Vieira. You must be on the drink, mate. I'm telling you. I mean, maybe better than Patrick Vieira now when Patrick Vieira is about our old, 45, 46. Declan Rice is overrated. Audacious Verratti bid. I don't think Verratti would leave to come to Arsenal. Basuma ain't happy. We're not going to sign from Spurs. That's the problem. Let's end that one. I'll leave the poll up for 2 more minutes before we move on. Yeah, timeout settings, man. The banter is crazy. As Laurie said, Sambi, man of the match. Zubimendi is class. Kimmich ain't going to leave. Kimmich is outstanding. I would love to sign Kimmich. But he ain't going to leave. He ain't going to leave to come to Arsenal. Anthony Brayley said, do you think we could compete for De Jong when we get Champions League? I like how he said when we get Champions League. I like that. De Jong would be difficult. He's on absolutely gigantic wages. And he showed in the summer he's not willing to leave unless somebody pays it. So he's difficult. Goretzka's good. Would buy and let him go. Lucas Tossart, he's not a bad player. Renato Sanchez just signed for PSG. Not really a 6, but very good player. Clement Tonali won't come to Arsenal. He's happy with AC Milan. Top player. I think they've offered him a new deal, so I don't think we would get him. Big C, that was Henry's last jersey for us. Yeah, I like to remember Henry's tapping at Sunderland rather than what happened at Old Trafford, you know. Anyway, let's move on. Let me end that poll as well, just quick. Would you have taken Locatelli at Arsenal, or do you just think leave him to it? 62% say you don't want Locatelli. 38% say that you would take him. So, interesting. I think more of you feel that, you know, you had your opportunity to join us. You blew it. Now you reap what you sow, my friend. You know, it was your dream move and it hasn't worked. Speaking of dream moves not working, let's talk about Nico Ross-Clark. Pepe, South London said he was joking. I'll let you off. I know. I knew you was coming in on smoke. Let's talk about Nico Pepe. I think the picture says it all, people. Head down, looking at the floor. Not going well. Not going well for Nicolas Pepe. Dropped for Nice's game at the weekend against PSG. Biggest game of the season for them. PSG away. A fantastic opportunity for Pepe to prove to the world, with a lot of eyes on him, what is going on, and he gets benched. Things are not going well for Nicolas Pepe. The manager has come out and questioned the intensity of Nicolas Pepe's game. Just to bring some stats up. I mean, just to put it into context, people. Ross Barkley, who I joked about actually after the Manchester United game, we should sign on a free transfer in midfield when the window closed. Ross Barkley played right wing ahead of Nicolas Pepe on the weekend against PSG. They lost the game 2-1 and actually put up a good performance. Nicolas Pepe came on for 27 minutes at the end of the game, and it's not happening for him. Just to put it into context, people, 6 games, 1 goal, no assists. The 1 goal was a penalty. He's being questioned by the manager for his intensity, who said at the start it looked as if it could be a fitness issue. He hasn't played a lot of games for Arsenal. We're not sure if he is yet fully fit. He then went on the weekend when asked why was Pepe left out of the side for such a big game. He said, we went with other options. We are still trying to find the intensity in Nico Pepe's game to get the best out of him. It will take time. I mean, listen, Pepe has 18 months left on his contract. If he doesn't tear the place up this season for Nice, they're not going to sign him, right? Because they're benching him already. He's on 130 grand a week. He's got a year left on his deal. This could end up being a precarious situation for Arsenal Football Club next summer, in the sense that nobody will want to buy him because he's out of form and on big wages. Arsenal won't want to keep him because we'll have moved on from him by next season. Marquinhos, Saka, we may even sign another winger. And then all of a sudden, your £72 million record signing, you can't sell him and you don't want to keep him. And what happens? You loan him out next summer and his contract runs down and you get nothing for him. This is looking like another Aubameyang, Ozil, in the sense that I think Arsenal will end up paying him off to leave and cancelling the contract, like Ishi's saying. And this has been a disastrous move. You know, listen, he put up decent numbers at certain times. Let's be honest, he's had good moments at Arsenal. But what has happened to him? How can a guy who was deemed one of the hottest wide players coming out of French football go so bad. His confidence is gone. His intensity is gone. He's not scoring goals. He's gone to France. You look at Balogun. Balogun's playing for a team in the same division that are lower than Nice. He scored 6 goals in 9 games. And Balogun's a youngster. Now, don't get me wrong. Balogun's a striker. Pepe's a winger. I don't expect Pepe to score tons of goals. But he's not producing anything at the moment. It's sad. I'm actually quite sad because I've always thought Pepe had talent. I always thought there was something there, but maybe the minerals are just not there, people. Maybe he's not built. And this is what I'm saying about contracts. He came here, he was on 40 grand a week when he was in France. He came to England, got 130, started putting up pictures with Lamborghinis, with Gucci headbands on and basketball shirts, big drip, looking like a rap star, looking like, Lil Baby. All of a sudden, the football career's gone downhill. Now, it could be coincidental. I shouldn't make a judgment because you got a Gucci headband on, you're not focused on your football. But what I'm saying, has the money, has the hunger disappeared from him? I don't know. He just doesn't look to have that hunger to me. He doesn't look like he wants to be the best player. And that's always been the problem for me with him. I said it from day one, we signed the wrong Ivory Coast winger. I think everybody would say that we should have signed Zaha instead of Pepe. But they went for the Klarna payment plan, I'm afraid. Raul took the envelopes, 100%. Big drip settings for Pepe, man. I wanted Pepe to go to France and do well because 2 things happen. You either bring him back full of confidence or you sell him and get some of your money back. Him playing bad is bad for Arsenal because we can't sell him. He'll end up on loan again next year. We'll cancel his contract. Sadiq said, Ronaldo called in the help of Jordan Peterson. This has nothing to do with talent. Pepe should improve on his mental state. What's holding him back? Listen, sometimes this is what I think people have to understand in football. And I'm not saying this is true. I could be completely wrong with this. Sometimes you are genuinely a one-season wonder. Sometimes. You're just a one-season wonder. Things click. Everything you hit seems to go in. You run past defenders. They don't know you, so they don't double up on you like they are with Saka. And you take advantage of it. He played in a little team that were quick, were on the counter-attack. I think Pepe can finish when he gets in front of goal. He was something of an unknown quantity, and he bagged. We got carried away, turned up with a bag full of brown envelopes and took him. Now, you've seen it. How many players have you seen in the past have a great season and the next season you ain't seen him? Man said Michu from Swansea. They've been around, man. Michael Ricketts. There's enough, man, who've had a good season and the next year, their man just disappeared, man. They hit a hot streak. They hit a hot streak. And man are trying to pay big money for them. And then next minute, you see what they're truly about. Chamakh, yeah? Chamakh bagged goals in the French league, came here. And, and that's what happened to him. I think Pepe was a bit of a one-season wonder. He played in a counter-attacking system. The manager got him high. He can finish when you get him in front of goal. He comes here and he didn't have what was necessary to succeed in the Prem. He's gone back to France, the league that he ripped apart a couple of years ago. And he can't even rip that league apart now. So it happens, people. It happens. In other news, looks like we're selling Pablo Mari then. Yeah, if his team stays up, they have an obligation to buy him. So let's hope they do stay up. Sancho, one season wonder, I think is a bit harsh. He had two, 3 good seasons in Germany. I think he's just suffering in Manchester United. It's a team where over the last few years, attacking players have all struggled there, really, outside of 1 or 2. Martial hasn't prospered there. Rashford hasn't. Cavani didn't do much there. Lukaku struggled there. They're not all bad players. I just think it's the system and maybe the way they're playing. Asamoah Gyan, listen, there are loads of players. Buendia at Norwich, outstanding. Gone to Villa, not really producing. A lot of players have done it. So Pepe looks like he's having a tough time. I hope the season does turn around and improve for him. But what can you do? I've said many times, he looks like he needs a wake-up call. Wake up, bro. You got such a great opportunity. You've come from the French league on not much money. You're at Arsenal on 130 grand a week, playing in the Prem. You are not far away from... You're never that far away from becoming a superstar in the Premier League. If Pepe would have had one season at Arsenal, if he produced what he produced in France for one season in the Prem, he would be a superstar. We'd all have his name on the back of his shirt. He'd be doing this celebration all over the Prem. One season, and we'd be raving about him. There was so much hype around him. He just never seemed to want to grab it with both hands. You look at the All or Nothing documentary. He's just quiet. He never talks. He never has a smile on his face. He looks like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. You know what I mean? There's people out here with real problems, man. Yeah, even his dad questioned his hunger and determination. So, listen, man, sometimes I learnt this in football. I'll tell you this now. I'll be honest. One thing I learnt in football, if you want to make it professional, if you want to go beyond being a professional and be a top professional, you know, I never played at the level that Pepe and these guys have played. One thing I've learnt in football and in anything, you cannot rely on talent. You cannot rely on talent. Talent alone, talent will get you to the door, but talent won't get you in the house. Talent will get you to the door, it won't get you in the house. And it certainly won't keep you in the house. Balotelli, I remember watching Balotelli for Man City against Arsenal. I said to myself, after the performance that I saw, he's going to be one of the best strikers in the world. He was about 20. He had everything. Look at man like Quaresma and all these ballers. Talent-wise, they say Quaresma was better than Ronaldo in terms of talent. But what you cannot just have is them minerals, that drive, that determination to just break through everything. That's what makes Cristiano Ronaldo one of the GOATs. The drive, the determination. That's the difference between top level and, oh, he was a talented player who didn't quite make it. Yeah, Ravel Morrison, Balotelli, Quaresma, Ben Arfa, Adel Taarabt. They're players you would go on YouTube and go, oh my God, you're one of the best players I've ever seen in my life, what they can do with a ball. Why are they not at the top? They didn't have the minerals. They relied on the talent, and the talent won't carry you to the top. It won't keep you at the top. And I think Pepe is in a similar boat. I think he had the talent. He got through the door. He got the big move. He got the dough. He thought he'd made it. And now he's going to fall off a cliff. He's going to end up in the French league, not even at the position that he was at before he went to Arsenal. Because he was at Lille. Lille won the title not long after. He's now at Nice. Nice are like 6th, 7th from bottom in the French league. So his career's going to go downhill, I'm afraid. Dele Alli, look at Dele Alli now. Man's in Turkey. Man was being linked with Real Madrid when he was at Tottenham. Real Madrid, now the man's he's playing for Besiktas, I think. Street won't forget ballers. Couldn't have described it better. Ben Arfa. Oh, my days, people. Ben Arfa. Like, you want to talk about talent? Oh, my God. Ben Arfa, mate. Unbelievable. Pato. Come on, man. Remember Pato at AC Milan? 99 pace. Ballers. Balotelli. Ballers. Top ballers. Didn't have it in the belly, man. That hunger to never stop. You know? One of the biggest things, one of the biggest mistakes I made, and I always say this, and I talk about it, I say, listen, the reason my career never excelled as a footballer, and the reason I only got League Two and them levels there, my dream was to become a pro. Once I made it pro, your dream has to change. You've got to say, right, well done, pat on the back, you've made it pro, forget that, now elevate again. What's your next dream? How are you going to get there? You need to have the same hunger that got you here to go again. What I did, I said, right, I've made it. Yes, I'm here. All that hard work, I've made it. By the time you settle down and say, yes, I'm here, you're getting kicked out the door, mate, and you're not here no more, and you're back in the streets in the mess. And that's how football is. And I think a lot of these players, they've relied on talent and they've disappeared. Your Michus, your man said Edmundo, Pato, all these players, you know. So, I think Pepe lacks their minerals, I'm afraid. I don't think he's got that hunger in his belly to be a world-class player. It takes drive, determination, hard work to reach them levels. And I just don't see it in Pepe. I do not see it. I think he feels like his career has peaked. And but listen, you never know. Maybe he'll prove us wrong. Maybe he'll have a good season. And maybe he turns it around. Let's see how the season develops for him, people. Right, before we round up, people, we've already been on for 1 hour and 3 minutes. Man said, open a motivation channel. No, listen, I like to spread certain messages. And listen, I've seen football from the inside, so I like to just give certain little bits of knowledge. Some of you may be young, upcoming footballers, you know, and I think it's good to hear these things from people, you know. If you've got a chance to make it, you've got to keep working. No matter how talented you are, you have to work. That's what separates the best. But I just want to talk about tomorrow's game. Obviously, we play against Bodo Glimt. Here's one I made earlier, people. You know, like you used to watch the thing. They go, this is how you cook, but I'm not going to cook it. Here's one I made earlier, and they take it out of the oven. You're going to have to forgive me on one thing on this picture. When I typed in Marquinhos, Arsenal Marquinhos, they ain't got no pictures of him on this website. So unfortunately, I've had to put Marquinhos from PSG in the picture. So Marquinhos from PSG is in the picture, but forgive me. If you're looking, thinking, why the hell has he got a centre-back PSG Marquinhos? This website, they've never heard of our Marquinhos, unfortunately. So I've had to put him right wing. You got to do what you got to do, people. You know, we got to adjust. You know what I'm doing, though. This is my starting 11 for tomorrow. I want you to tell me what you would adjust. Would you go for anything different? I'm going to let you know why I've picked it. You've captured his stunt double. Listen, they stitched me up on the website, man. I'm like, bro, you ain't got Marquinhos. They've never heard of him. Matt Turner in goal. He's got to prove his salt, because if anything ever happens to Ramsdale, this brother's got to come in the team and play. And I'm nervous. So I need him to build up his confidence and get himself back where he needs to be. Cedric Mustafa is back in full training. So looks as if he could be available. Although Zinchenko didn't train this morning. So that's why I haven't involved him. I wouldn't involve him anyway. Man saying, Turner, you good, bro. He's got to play at some stage just in case. Let me go through why I've picked this team. Cedric at right back. He's back. Play him at right back. The reason I've played Tomiyasu centre back, because I would change both centre backs, and we don't have another centre back. Holding comes in for Gabriel. Who comes in for Saliba? We don't have one. You could play Ben White, but I would give Ben White a rest. We got Liverpool at the weekend. So I would play Tomiyasu at centre back, right? I would play him at centre back. He's played there for Japan. He can play there. And Tierney at left back. I was thinking, have I rotated too much? That was the only thing I was thinking. Are Bodo better than we think? And I've rotated too much and this team's going to struggle. I suppose I'm hoping that it's a home game. This will still be good enough to beat them. We play Liverpool at the weekend. This is not my predicted 11. This is the 11 that I would pick. In midfield, again, I would rest Granit Xhaka, but who do you rest him for? You put Sambi in for Thomas Partey. Who comes in for Granit Xhaka? We don't have a centre midfielder. Maitland-Niles went on loan and El Nenny's still injured. So I'm going to have to play Granit Xhaka unless we do something else. I think Xhaka is less injury prone than Partey, so I would rest Thomas Partey. So I'd go Xhaka and Lokonga. Fabio Vieira plays in the 10. Give Odegaard a rest. Odegaard wasn't great against Tottenham. Vieira had a very good game against Brentford. Give him an opportunity. Reece Nelson on the left. Again, Martinelli. With Smith Rowe being injured, we can't afford to risk Martinelli, in my opinion. We need Martinelli fit on that left. He's playing well, and he needs to cause Trent problems on Sunday. So I'm not going to risk Martinelli from the start. Give Reece Nelson an opportunity on the left. It's last chance saloon for him, you know. It's sink or swim. You either make it or you go now. Marquinhos on the right. As I said, apologies. The website stitched me up. They don't have Arsenal's Marquinhos. So I've had to put Marquinhos, the PSG centre-back, on the right wing. But you know I'm talking about, people. And Eddie and Nketiah up front. Because, again, Gabby Jesus needs a rest for me. We got Liverpool at the weekend. And I think that should still be a strong enough team to win, unless we get a serious surprise. Would you change anything from this game, people? Is there anything in this starting 11 that stands out to you that you would change? Some people saying Ramsdale should play over Turner. Aziz, some people saying Aziz could play centre midfield, possibly, yeah, for Xhaka. What I think we need to do is we need to make sure we win this game so that we're in a strong position. This Bodo might surprise us, people. They drew away with PSV. So I'm not sure. Odegaard at 8. Yeah, you could play Odegaard instead of Xhaka and play him, Vieira and Lokonga. That's not a bad shot. Wanyeri for Nelson. I'm not playing him. 15-year-old. Put him on the bench. Aziz is on loan in Ibiza. Geez, not a bad place to go on loan, right? He's probably clubbing every night. Ocean Beach business, you know. Change Marquinhos. Yeah, I can't, my friend. That's all they got. The website was sold out, man. There's no other Marquinhos. But I just think, listen, your Salibas, your Partey's, your Jesus, they need the night off. You may need one or two of them on the bench as insurance policies just in case, you know, they're surprising us and they're beating us or drawing with us. You're going to need a couple. I don't know. You might need a Saka or a Jesus on the bench just in case we need to go for it and things don't go right. But I would definitely give some of them a rest. That's a good point. Give Odegaard and Xhaka a half each. Could bring him on. Zinchenko didn't train today, Jake, so I don't think they're going to risk him tomorrow. I'm not even sure he'll be in the squad. He hasn't trained this morning, according to the Arsenal website, so I don't think we'll risk him. Kimani said most of these players need to push their first-team counterparts. If I'm Fabio Vieira, I'm saying, listen, I don't care if Martin Odegaard's captain. I'm trying to get him out of this team. Do you know what I mean? If I'm Reece Nelson, I'm trying to be the winger that comes on if you've got to take Martinelli or Saka off. Tierney's got a fight on his hands. Zinchenko seems to be ahead of him. They've all got a fight. Lokonga's got to say, listen, if anything happens to Partey or Xhaka, I'm ready. They've all got a point to prove. So there should be a lot of hunger in this team. As I said, couple players on the bench as insurance policies, maybe Saka and Jesus. Alex Cedric is back, apparently. He trained this morning. Ben White for Xhaka. You could play Ben White in the middle, possibly, just to give Xhaka a rest. Is it too weak a midfielder? You know, I hope we don't get a rude awakening tomorrow from Bodo. I've been calling him Hello Moto for the last 2 weeks. Hello Moto. Anyone remember their Motorola adverts back in the day? I think I better be careful with slandering them. They're second in the league. They drew with PSV. They beat Zurich. They're top of the group at the moment. We do have a game in hand on them. So we do have to be careful. That is for sure. We do have to make sure we win this game. But I think that team's good enough. These are our fringe players. They've got to prove that they are capable of handling these games. In my opinion, Arteta might go a little bit stronger than this. I think he may play one or two of the first team players as well, because I think he will have a little bit more respect for Bodo due to the fact that they're top of the group and try and get the victory. So, hello Moto settings, people. So, let's see. Going to be an interesting game tomorrow, and looking forward to that one. I'm out of here for today, people. I may do a Champions League watch-along tonight. Chelsea against AC Milan. Cruz got a game tonight. I'm not totally sure what time I'm going to get back yet. If I get back in time, we'll do the watch-along. Aubameyang against Giroud should be a good game. If not, we will be back tomorrow. Arsenal against Bodo Glimt watch-along. So looking forward to that. Make sure you lick down the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you either later on for the Champions League watch-along, or if not, Europa League watch-along tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, people. And I will see you soon. Bless.